hip hop's in a rad place. You know, I think we're at that turning point where the age of enlightenment's coming on, and I think a lot of artists are becoming more conscious, like the J. Coles and the Kendricks, the King Loses, the Daylights, you know, the Hobsons, the King Lil G's. Always got to shout out the King. I think hip hop's making that turning point again, and I think we're gonna go out of the cookie cutter, disposable, fast food, drive-through music, and I think we're gonna come back to lyrics, beats, turntablism. I think the culture is gonna be taken back, and I think what's happening is a lot of these old cats that fell back, that got money, and was like, oh, I got my money, and I call it they didn't get money, they graduated, you know, and I like to think hip hop's kind of like high school. You know, everybody talk, they really fucking petty, shit's fake, shit don't matter, but then you graduate and you get to that Jay-Z level, you know, and then you buy a basketball team. Like, that's graduating from hip hop, you know. So I think you know, a lot of the kid stuff, like the older heads, when they graduated and they got that money and they fell back after having a great 10-year, they didn't really take the time to educate the up-and-coming artists. And I'm gonna stem back to an interview that I heard Soulja Boy and Ice-T. Then when they had their little beef, and Soulja Boy, he said something that was really fucking rad, and I'll never forget it. Instead of, and I think he said it just like this, instead of your old ass, Ice-T, complaining about what's going on, you should call me and do something about it. Help me, motivate me, inspire me, teach me, coach me. And I think that's kind of what's happening with a lot of the artists right now, is they just don't have the proper schooling. You know, they got into school without signing their paperworks, you know, and I think it's up to the older cats, the principals, to really go and say, hey, little homie, you ain't doing it wrong, but you ain't doing it right. This is how it should be done. And I think people just don't have that proper guidance right now in the hip hop industry, and I think that's important. What drives me crazy about the music industry right now, I think, is just mainly just the lack of consistency. The lack of consistency with artists, the lack of consistency from the labels, and the lack of consistency from the radio reaching to the labels, putting out the good music that needs to be out. That's one of the biggest frustrations that I have. Two is, you know, you don't know what's real anymore. I think with reality TV making its boom in the last decade and people becoming the social media icons or stars for doing absolutely fucking nothing, which I'll never understand. You know, it makes for a lot of fuckery in the industry. And that's probably one of the hardest frustrations is being a real motherfucker in a room full of fakes. And when you're in a room full of fakes and you're the realest one in there, the fakes seclude you, and that makes perfect sense why I'm still a struggling independent artist. I think the digital world has changed the music industry tremendously, in good and bad ways. You know, the pros are, I think it's taken a lot of the power out of what I call the engine, and the engine is the music industry. I think it's put the power back into the artist's hands, which is very, very important, seeing as, you know, publishing companies like BMI and ASCAP, after 4 years, they don't have to pay anybody out. You know, I think that's ridiculous. Like, you know, but now we're in charge, and you could be an independent artist and distribute your music online, which is cool, you know, but I think it takes away from the artist-fan interaction. You know, you still have the interaction online, but there ain't nothing better than meeting somebody face-to-face, somebody getting to know you, handing them a physical copy of your CD, and then having them get in the car. While you still there, put your CD in, and then go, hey, what song's the dopest one? That's the dopest song, I'm gonna play it. And then when they ride off bumping your shit, I think that's dope. In an industry where you can touch a lot of people and be seen and be known, I think that's dope. But when you're terrible, everybody hears about you. So, you know, pros and cons. People coming from out of town into California isn't really, I think, the issue. I feel it really just stems with the artist and the product that's getting out there right now, and the bar that's set for up-and-coming artists. I feel the bar is very, very low, as opposed to my generation, which came up before the internet, came up before YouTube, you know, part of the MySpace days. We had to hand out physical CDs. We had to hustle. You know, like, if you heard about another artist, you heard about them because they were dope. You didn't hear about them because they were no fuckboys. And I think in the industry right now, you hear about everything and they all fuckboys. You hear about them because they fuckboys. You know, when you go have a good experience at dinner, you don't tell everybody, oh, I went to the best dinner spot. But when you hear about a fuckboy, you tell 10 people that, oh, fuck, I just met this fuckboy, fuck him. So I think that's been the hardest thing, is just separating the real from the fake, and genuine artists, you know, and raising the bar. I think the bar needs to be raised, and I think there needs to be a coalition of artists that sets a standard. Like, if you ain't doing this and you ain't on this level, you ain't in the game, you know. And I think a lot of people are signing up for the music industry online and they ain't really putting in that street time. You need to put in that street time, especially artists getting signed and they ain't performed yet. You ain't never rocked a show. There's just, I could go on for days. Frustration.
To me, Rakim, Tupac, Biggie, Wu-Tang Clan, they painted certain pictures to me that I was able to see. Even though I'm not black, even though I didn't come from New York or wherever they grew up at, I still understood it because they were painting a picture to me.
So we get out the car, keep in mind our car wasn't on the road anymore, it was in the ditch. And we look over, we see dude's car, and I'm, you know what I'm saying, I'm fucking pissed. I think I have socks, I don't remember what the fuck, because we were just comfortable, it was a car, like, one minute we were warm as fuck, and then the next minute it was cold, bloody, shit's glasses everywhere.
My mom is like hyperventilating, she's driving, so she's hyperventilating. I'm like, you know, we could sit here and hyperventilate, but we should probably see if this woman is okay.
There's like 4 or 5 cops pull up to this gas station, and one of our guys who's on the tour is coming out of the gas station, sees the driver, and he's like, hey, what's up? You know, what's going on? What's the deal? Is everything all right? Somebody messing with you? Because we had been really cool with her. We had never had any beef with her. She's like, excuse me, I'm talking to the police right now. And it was like, oh, snap, okay, like, hold up.